Right now, in this moment, you are not experiencing the present. You never have. Not once in your entire life. Everything you have ever seen, heard, touched, or felt has already happened by the time your brain registers it. The world you're experiencing right now is a reconstruction, a best guess assembled from old data. You are not living in the present. You are living in a memory that is 80 milliseconds old. And that gap, tiny as it sounds, changes everything you think you know about reality. Let's start with light. When you look at something, light bounces off it and hits your retina. Your retina converts that light into an electrical signal. That signal travels down your optic nerve to the back of your brain where your visual cortex processes it. Then that processed information gets passed forward to other regions that compare it to memory, assign meaning to it, integrate it with sound and touch and smell, arriving from completely different pathways at completely different speeds. And then, only then, assemble it into something your brain decides to call the present moment. That entire process takes time. Not much time, but time. Roughly 80 to 100 milliseconds from the moment light hits your eye to the moment you consciously perceive what you're looking at. Your brain has been hiding this delay from you your entire life. It timestamps your experiences as now, even though now already passed before you knew it happened. And here's where it gets strange. Because light isn't the only thing arriving late, sound travels slower than light, which is why you hear thunder after you see lightning. Touch signals from your fingertips travel at different speeds than signals from your face. Pain signals move slower still. Your brain is receiving a constant flood of information from every sense simultaneously, all arriving at slightly different times, all needing to be woven into a single coherent experience that feels like one unified moment. So your brain does something remarkable. It waits. Neuroscientist David Eagleman at Stanford has spent decades studying what he calls the window of simultaneity. The brain holds incoming sensory information for a brief period, roughly 80 milliseconds, and then stitches it all together into a single package it presents to your conscious mind as the present moment. Your experience of now is not a live feed. It is an edited highlight reel assembled slightly after the fact and played back to you as though it were happening in real time. Think about what that means. You have never once in your life experienced an unedited moment. Every single thing you have ever perceived, every face you have ever seen, every word you have ever heard, every sensation you have ever felt has been processed, adjusted, integrated, and reconstructed before it reached your conscious awareness. You are not a camera recording reality. You are an audience watching a version of reality that your brain produced for you. But it goes deeper than the 80 milliseconds. In the 1970s, neuroscientist Benjamin Libet at the University of California, San Francisco, ran a series of experiments that shook the scientific world and have never fully been explained since. He asked participants to perform a simple voluntary action, flicking their wrist whenever they felt like it. He measured two things. First, the moment brain activity associated with the movement began. Second, the moment participants consciously decided to move. What he found was deeply unsettling. The brain activity began approximately 300 to 500 milliseconds before participants reported making the conscious decision to move. Their brains had already initiated the action before they were aware of deciding to do it. The decision felt immediate, felt present, felt like it was happening right now, but the neural machinery had been in motion for half a second before the conscious mind knew anything about it. Libet called this the readiness potential. What it suggests is that your conscious experience of making a decision, that felt sense of choosing, of intending, of being present in the moment of action, may itself be a story your brain tells you after the fact. Not a live experience of agency, but a reconstructed narrative of agency delivered slightly too late and labeled now. And philosophers have been arguing about what this means ever since. Some say it proves free will is an illusion, that your conscious self is a passenger being informed of decisions already made somewhere beneath awareness. Others push back hard. They argue that Libet's experiments have been misread, that consciousness plays a role in vetoing or modifying actions even if it doesn't initiate them. That agency is more complex than a single measurement can capture. But here's what both sides agree on. Whatever you are experiencing right now, it is not raw, unfiltered reality. It is your brain's best reconstruction of reality, assembled from signals that have already passed, integrated across senses that move at different speeds, smoothed and adjusted and edited into something coherent, and then stamped with a timestamp that says, now. Your present moment is always a story about the recent past, and your brain works extraordinarily hard to make sure you never notice. One of the most elegant demonstrations of this comes from a simple experiment you can try right now. Move your eyes quickly from one side of the room to the other. You probably feel like you saw the whole journey, like your vision was continuous the whole way. It wasn't. During rapid eye movements called saccades, your brain actually goes partially blind. The visual signal during the movement is so blurry and disorienting that your brain suppresses it entirely and fills the gap with a prediction of what it expects to see at the destination. You didn't see the journey. Your brain invented it. This is called saccadic suppression, and it happens every single time you move your eyes, which is several times every second. Your seamless, continuous experience of visual reality is largely a construction. Your brain is constantly filling in gaps, smoothing over interruptions, predicting what comes next, and presenting the finished product to your conscious mind as though it were direct, unmediated experience. Which raises a question that gets uncomfortable fast. If your brain edits out the gaps in your vision, adjusts the timing of your senses, reconstructs your decisions after they've already been made, and packages all of this into something it calls the present moment, how much of what you experience is actually out there? And how much of it is in here? The answer, as best as neuroscience can currently tell, is more than you'd like. Color, for instance, is not a property of the world. It is a property of your visual system. Objects don't have colors, they have wavelengths. Your brain converts those wavelengths into the experience of red or blue or green. The color exists inside your head, not outside it. The same is true of sound. Air pressure waves become music or language inside your auditory cortex. The world outside your skull is silent. The richness of what you hear is entirely a construction of your brain. Pain works the same way. So does pleasure. So does the felt sense of time passing. Your entire experience of reality, every color, every sound, every sensation, every moment is a model, a simulation your brain runs to help you navigate a world it can never directly access. The actual world, the one outside your skull, is something you will never experience directly. You only ever experience your brain's best guess about it. And your brain's best guess is always 80 milliseconds old. Here's what's strange to sit with. This isn't a flaw. Your brain's delay, its editing, its reconstruction, all of it is a feature. Raw, unprocessed sensory data would be overwhelming and incoherent. The gap between the world and your experience of it exists because your brain needs time to do something extraordinarily complex. To take a chaotic flood of signals arriving from every sense at different speeds and build from them something you can actually use, something navigable. Something that feels like a continuous, coherent, present moment. The editing is what makes experience possible. But it also means something worth sitting with. Every argument you have ever had about what just happened, every dispute over what was said, what was seen, what was intended, was an argument between two people who both experienced the same moment through completely different reconstructions. Neither of you had access to what actually happened. You both had access to your brain's version of it. And those versions, built from different histories, different expectations, different sensory emphases, were never going to be identical. We don't share the present. We each inhabit our own version of it, and none of those versions are the thing itself. The present moment, the actual, unmediated, raw present, is something no human being has ever experienced and no human being ever will. We are all, always living 80 milliseconds behind reality. Watching a reconstruction your brain made for you, experiencing a now that is already then. And somehow, despite all of that, it feels exactly like now. That might be the strangest thing of all.